All right, mic check, mic check. Morning Masters Podcast, your host, main of course. I got a special guest across from me, my man Z in the house. I was going to try it. I said, nah, I ain't going to
I
do
think
it.
you should try it one time for the people. But no,
I forgot what you said now. Nah, I ain't going to try it. I ain't going to try it. I don't chop your name up.
Zaccheus. It's either way. So look, it's the story behind that. My mom says Zaccheus, right? That's how she pronounced it. But of course, there's a biblical song along the way. It says Zaccheus was a wee little man. So people say Zaccheus, Zaccheus. As long as you don't put an R in it, we good.
So, wait, what kind of name is it? Is it derived from like
The Bible?
Bible?
It's a biblical character, actually, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, what did that character do?
So he was a guy who was a really wealthy man, and he actually, people would say like he would try to do all these crazy things, and then one day he just saw like Jesus. He climbed up the tree. He's a short guy. He was very short and small. I'm not short. So like
Yeah.
he climbed up the tree, and Jesus told him to get down from that tree, and then he came down from the tree and changed his life and gave it to Christ. That's like a summary of it. I'm not the person to read the Bible all the time, so I don't want no Bible folks out there to
I just learned a lot. I don't last time. I seen the Bible today when I cleaned my car out, but other than that,
yeah. So I'm like, I go to church, here and there. My pops is a pastor and stuff like that too as well. So yeah, I don't want nobody coming at me.
Let me ask how I start my podcast off, and I don't know if you are familiar. I didn't really ask. I try to go straight into it to not ask too much, so I won't ask nothing on here.
Okay.
But I try to always get somebody's story, so I talk about life and beginning and how they got to where they at now, and then we start talking about the things that mattered and how you got from point A to point B to Z. No pun intended, right? All right. So I guess just start there. Like, tell them where you from, who you are, where you from, like where you was born.
Yep. So I am Zaccheus Miles. I'm originally from North Augusta, South Carolina, across the river. And
Augusta, Georgia. Clap it up, Augusta, Georgia, real quick.
Yeah, definitely Augusta. The CSRA, let's include everybody because my family is all over. But what I do is I own an agency, a PR agency now, but I started off as a designer and stylist many years ago. Just had a vision and a thing to create. And that's where I am. So, I'm in my 30s, early 30s. It's still kind of young, but I feel really old.
Oh, see, you feel away about your age, don't you? You feel away about it because you said early 30s.
Yeah, early 30s.
I would have said 32 anyway, you know what I'm saying? What made you specify early? And what is early to you now? See, now that's...
Oh, that middle mark. Once you hit, because I used to joke with my mom when we was younger, and I'd be like, yeah, once you hit 35, or I think it was 40, you're old. And then I feel like I'm getting close to that. So now I kind of regret joking with her when I was younger.
Well, talk about just being younger. Talk about being from North Augusta, South Carolina. And what was that like?
Yeah, so it's a beautiful experience. I grew up in North Augusta, attended North Augusta up until it's time for me to graduate. I graduated from Strong Thurman High School. And it's a culture that I can never run away from. I came from a really large family, and we are really supportive, and the fact that our cousins so big and family so big to where we all know each other. So it's always been a feeling of home for me. Growing up in the South, though, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, being a guy who loves to be creative and fashion and want to see the world, you didn't see that in North Augusta. You kind of saw, the many acres of land and, the little ATVs and all those little go-karts and stuff like that, right? But I had a different experience than most. My grandfather was really friends with a lot of great people in the area. So my experience was a little different than most here. So it allowed me to open up my eyes to kind of always been willing to explore and see more. And so, I just, for me, being from North Augusta, it's something that one of the reasons why I always come back home to do something is because I always love the culture here. I just want to see it, help it elevate to a better experience.
What schools, how were you when you were younger? I didn't get where you were from, but how were you? Were you a bad kid,
you want to go deep? No, I was a good kid.
I'm trying to get a feel of who you are. I like the jacket, you know what I'm saying? I see the fashion guy now, you know what I'm saying? But how you dressed growing up?
I was a nerd in school. I studied encyclopedias. I read a lot. I would do the crossword puzzles from my grandmother's book. I didn't play sports. I was in marching band. I was a good kid. My mother kept us active to do things. The idle mind is the devil's workshop is what I grew up on, right? So
say that one time.
An idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Okay.
So when you're not doing nothing, it gives you room to do, or for the enemy to come in and try to do more.
Okay.
I kind of grew up in that mindset, right? So I always stay busy, marching band, extracurricular activities. Took my first trip to DC when I was in the 7th grade. Um, but and I was a church kid too. I'm gonna put it out there. I was very churchy growing up. And so that's how I was. Just
So,
played
so
around.
technically speaking, you really should know that story of Z.
I
You really
mean,
should know
I
it.
know the story of Job. Job is one of my favorite
I
biblical
like that.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I didn't grow up in church, right? So I always tell a
yeah.
story to people. I don't mind being vulnerable in here,
Hmm.
but like it was a story of I don't know the name. A story of Jacob and his brother, or something like that,
Oh,
or
yep. Jake, the jealous brother.
I don't know,
Yeah.
some of them, right? So we in school, it's a humanities class,
Hmm.
and we didn't read the book yet. We just talking about it,
Hmm.
and I'm like, how did these kids know about this story? And he didn't sign it to us to read yet.
Yeah.
And I realized then, I said, damn, I didn't go to church enough when I was a little kid because these kids knew this story like the back of their hand. I didn't know, I never heard of it.
But wait, you from up north, and one thing I know about people up north, they go to church.
All right, so a little background about me, right?
Uh
If you're
huh.
trying to turn this around on me, I see what you're doing. But a little background is my grandparents were over a church. So my grandfather was the pastor and she was the
Hmm.
first lady.
Hmm.
Horrible experience.
Okay.
Okay, wake up
Okay.
too early, going to pick up people that can't make it to
Yep.
church so they can make it to church, then
Yep.
coming back home to get ready to go to church,
Hmm.
then going to church and staying to the other service and the other service. One day I just got fed up. I say, look, man, this ain't for me, man. This ain't it. As bad as it sounds, it ain't for me. He asked me, he said, he just stopped. One day I was sitting down. I know he was mad at me. I already know.
Yeah.
He said, like, why you don't like church, man? And I
Hmm.
thought about it for a second. I was trying to give him a different answer. I said, I'm gonna just
Hmm.
tell the truth. I said, hey, it's boring.
Hmm.
I was like
Hmm.
7. I don't think I saw him again until I was 10. Like
Okay.
they just didn't pick me up. They
Yeah.
picked my brother and sister up. They just didn't pick me up.
Hmm.
Best 3 years of my life. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, got you. No, I can probably tell you what denomination church you probably was attending to, but we don't have to
I
discuss
don't know.
that.
I can tell you. I
I
don't
can tell
know.
you though. You said so morning to night that you was in church all day.
It's yeah.
I know exactly what you was.
I don't know. They just was doing too much,
You
man.
good? You
But
good?
my cousin played the drums and stuff. I couldn't play the drums. They tried to put me
Okay.
in the drum and he got in trouble. I messing the beats up, of course. I'm like, look, y'all just put me
Yeah,
in
you
bad
can't.
situations. I just don't like it. I just don't like nothing about it. Trying to make me sing. I'm not a singer,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So
It just wasn't for you, and that's
it wasn't for
cool.
me,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Yeah.
cool. That's
And I
cool.
just need them to see that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I got you.
I love my grandmother to death, man. She still does that stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
congrats to her. But back to you, man.
Hmm.
So yeah. And so you grew up in the church,
Yeah.
but and even what you do in fashion now. So when you were younger, do you look at your younger pictures and be like, what was I wearing? And why was I wearing this?
The crazy thing about it is, I think my mother, she doesn't even realize that she played a major part in all of this, right? If you see some of my younger pictures when I was a kid, I have a very unique style. Like this is really toned down for what I'm wearing, right? But like I'm very colorful, creative. As a kid, I always had on a hat. I always kept on glasses. I always wore a tie and suspenders, like as a child. So I feel like a lot of it carried along the journey. But it just got to the point where I wanted to be more creative in my own way,
Hmm.
to where I can, create my own clothes. So my mother go school shopping, we'd get clothes and I would go in and cut them up and tear them apart, try to learn how they were made and make it my own way. And so I
That's
feel like
dope, though.
it kind of like really, I have that, how, I talk about our favorite artist Beyonce, like how she has or any artist, right? They have that whole thing where they're singing and dancing with their kid and they grow up into that.
Yeah.
That's literally like my story too. Like as a child, I was always that creative person.
Well, I'm glad you said that. First of all, you said our favorite artist.
Uh-huh.
How'd you know I was a Beyonce fan? Or you just
Well, I
saying that?
mean, it's just a reality of life.
Oh
Whether you like her
wow.
sing it or not, it's just one of
I
those.
like you. I like
It's
you.
just a reality of life. Yeah, yeah.
I like that. And then secondly, what did you think of that? This is just on a tangent. What do you think of that? I know she not her, but the Blue Eye, I guess her daughter
Yep.
got some kind of flack at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she would dance with Beyonce and she wasn't
Oh, that's
dancing
good.
like Beyonce, which
Yeah.
was very weird of adults to even be
Yep.
doing this to a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? That
Easy. It was a lot of jealousy, I think. I think the adults that talked so negative or spoke negatively about Blue Ivy were very jealous. You got to remember, everything that we do when we first do it, we're never perfect at it, right?
mm,
It's always a journey along the way. And so, if you watch from when people talk about the baby when she was first born, and they try to say how she looked and things like that, and now she's blossomed into. Well, the first thing, let me backtrack. Number one, she's born to a billionaire, right, or a millionaire,
there
wherever
we
her
go.
net worth is. But then she's blossomed into this creative person that we've actually seen happen so many times over our lives and our years of life. Every star that you see, you go back in their time, they would person in the behind the scenes, an extra, an actor, or something like that. And Blue Ivy just continued to move forward. I think it's a lesson that a lot of us can learn as adults too. That you don't quit, you keep going, you keep moving. Blue Ivy now, people are going to the concert at this moment if based on the tour to see Blue Ivy.
Right,
They're
right.
literally anticipating her moment to shine. And I'm watching from the very first video how she was like, they said she was stiff and all of that. But now the girl's like, she's dancing better than some of those dancers that are paid to come and dance. So
I know
I
a
think
lot of
it's
the flight
consistency.
that I heard was like, "Oh, they should have got such and such to do it. They should have got Bow Wow daughter to do it." And then like, I think sometimes we always try to take away from somebody's greatness by trying to tear them down or by trying to, I guess, in our eyes, putting somebody up. We have to tear somebody down in that process. So in order to put Bow Wow daughter up, they had to tear Beyonce daughter down. You don't have to do that. You could have just said you could have said nothing at all. Because Bow Wow can do his own tour and have his daughter dance, but we won't
Man.
care because it's Bow Wow. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me say this too. And it's one word I want to use, legacy.
Mm.
I think most of our community, especially in our community, is that we don't know how to create a legacy. And it's being shown in front of our faces every day. So why would we want her to send somebody else's child up there first without it first being our child? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, like we don't want it to be where if I had a kid, my kid gonna design first before I bring your kid in
Right,
it.
right.
Like I'm gonna bring your kid in it though, but my kid's gonna design first at the end of the day.
As they should.
Yeah.
As they
Mhm.
should. So just a little more about you. So I know you say you. What made you go from North Augusta to Strom Thurmond? I'm just curious. I don't
Oh,
know the South Carolina wars, but I
yeah,
hear about them a lot.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you had some flack for that.
Well, both in South Carolina, North Augusta and Strong Thurmond. But and this is I can say it safely now. But my father, my dad, God bless his soul, he passed away 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. But I was in marching band, and I had a medical condition where I have a nerve disorder and it
Mm.
damaged all the nerves in my body. So I was in the marching band, percussionist. And one year we was in summer band camp, and the band director sat me down and she sat me down. She passed away too, so God bless her. So she sat me down, and I didn't know why. And so I called my mom. I was like, "I'm being sat down." And so they found out that was because of my medical condition. And my father was just like, "You need to come down here to Strom Thurmond. Your cousins and all of them are down there, etc." And they were. But what he didn't tell me was that my cousins were graduating the year that I came.
Ah.
So, and no shade to Strong Thurmond. Strong Thurmond was a really good school. I'm glad that I got a chance to go down there because it gave me another experience. It's a little bit more country down in the area, but it gave me a little bit more experience for that in that regards.
So I mean, being from South Carolina, what is that like as far as the pride aspect of things? So when you think about somebody being from South Carolina and saying, "Hey, I'm really from Augusta. I'm really from here." Like, what do you think about that aspect of things?
So when someone says they're from South Carolina, or they're from Augusta, but we're from South Carolina, as far as I think it's cool because we were one big family, the CSRA. Like, you can't get peaches in Augusta,
Right.
right? You have to go to Johnston, South Carolina to get some really good peaches,
Yeah,
right?
Rich Spring over there. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go to we got meat markets and all that in the Carolina side. And then at the same time, we can't really go to the mall in North Augusta. We have to come to Augusta, right? So I think it's a culture thing that we just always need to embrace. It's almost like if you're from Atlanta, you say you're from Atlanta, but then you're really from Alpharetta,
Yeah, yeah,
Conyers, or
yeah.
whatever. Nobody's really checking for you for that.
I asked that 'cause I wondered, is it a common thing in South Carolina? Do people feel a way that James Brown, like, they be saying he's from
Oh.
Augusta, or maybe he say he from Augusta? I don't couldn't tell you.
I don't know if it was a thing that James Brown did. I think it was a thing that just, I don't know if James Brown did it or not, but I will say I don't think it's an issue for people. Now, what we have done in the past, and not just even with him, but like even some of your other favorite legends that are from the area that I know of, we have corrected people when it's needed, like to
Mm.
say, hey, yeah, no, that person is from uh North Augusta or from Beach Island or from wherever. Like, for me, I'm from North Augusta. Now, I will get offended if you say I'm from Beach Island because I'm not, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm from North Augusta,
What's the
not from Beach
difference though? Like,
Island.
what's the
Beach Island
difference?
got, no, gosh, I'm gonna get heat from this from my pastor, but Beach Island got one red light and Amin's jeans, and I just go to church there. Like, that's it. I didn't know anything about Beach Island before I went to church. I didn't know, I thought it was an island too.
That's you silly. That's why that's why I asked about the Carolina Wars, like with the Strom Thurmond and North Augusta, because
Oh, yeah, there was a war.
I
I
don't
see what you're
know
saying. For
enough
asking.
about South Carolina, but I worked in Aiken.
Hmm.
God bless everybody in Aiken, but Aiken's a different place.
It is.
I don't know if they don't have like I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that,
But
but
let's not go too deep into that because I don't want to buy it because I still have family in these areas, right? But I will say this though, the wars come in sports for me in those areas.
oh,
So
definitely.
like, you're not gonna have the rebels come and sitting along the side of the Yellow Jackets. That's Thurman going to North Augusta and vice versa. Now, we all family at the end of the day because cousins know cousins. But North Augusta, we do feel like we're more prestige.
I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of get that vibe from everybody that I talk
Really?
to from North Augusta. I mean, I work in North Augusta
You just want
now.
me to say this on this live, I mean, on this
No, no,
podcast.
no.
That's what that was.
I would ask anybody, technically speaking,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I just see it a lot. So
Yeah.
I figure,
I was trying to
somebody
be safe. I'm
who
not.
said they from there, because most people I know don't say they from there. They say from somewhere else. So
Yeah. No. I love North Augusta. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's always been a thing.
what's the difference between North Augusta now and versus when you was coming up
Oh, North
that you
Augusta
see?
now. There's a little bit more to do. Like literally, where people see if you're walking along the SRP park. I remember walking along that park where there was like very few houses and just trees. It was a trail.
Why would y'all be walking? Why would y'all be walking there for?
It's a walking trail over there. Like you can
Oh,
walk and exercise. So my family, my mother, we used to go ride bikes on the Greenway and like just like exercise, just kind of seeing it. It was you always had to create something to do, but now
mm.
there's a little bit more. I do want North Augusta to bring more though, right? I do want us to have more stores. I want us to get a Target. If anybody watching this, I want North Augusta to have a Target
Why Target
because nobody wants to go in Walmart. We got two Walmarts now in North Augusta. Let's bring a Target
on the same side? That's kind of crazy.
on the same street. You can go 5 minutes down the road and
Yeah.
you see, yeah, like we need more. We
I mean,
need
yeah,
more.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I guess Target is telling me more. So your inner yellow jacket is coming out wanting Target
Yeah.
versus Walmart. So
Yeah.
I can see that.
How can you have all of this beautiful landscape and beautiful people, and then we don't have a Target to go to? We have to go
You
to
gotta come to
Robert C.
Augusta.
Daniel.
Yeah, come to Augusta.
Exactly, and we don't mind it.
We'll
We
take
don't
care of
mind
y'all.
it.
No big deal.
We don't mind it. But I mean, I've been to some really nice Targets, and I want North Augusta to have one.
Well, Target got Wi-Fi, so I do like Target. To be honest
Yeah,
with you. That's the only thing I like to talk about Target. They got Wi-Fi. Their price is kind
and
of
nice
crazy.
customer service. Really, really nice people.
Yeah, I mean, I work in retail. Yeah, it's Target still
Yeah,
decent.
yeah.
Customer service.
No shade to Walmart because Walmart has helped. They partnered with us before too.
You definitely go on Walmart. I already know. You just talking like that now, but I know you kind of got some Walmart, credit card or something like that. But speaking of going from North Augusta, right? So
Mhm.
talking about life after that. Like, when did you actually get into fashion? Like,
Yep.
and why?
So after North Augusta, we graduated '07. My next thing that happened was I went to fashion school, fashion art institute of Atlanta in Dunwoody.
For
Um,
at the high school?
uh-huh,
Okay, okay.
college, yep. So I tried to major in everything else. I tried to do cosmetology, I tried to do architect, I tried to do all those things. And not that I don't love to do those things or like it, but I didn't love it. And so fashion was like a big passion for me. So I went to school in Atlanta, started there, but I'm not a school kid like that. I realized, okay, I need to get my foot in the door. I interned with some designers. Michael Knight, God bless his soul, worked with him for a second for an event. We did fashion shows, and he just like kind of collaborated with a lot of other creatives in the area. And so I came back to Augusta in 2012 or 11. And I realized, you know what, we have an opportunity to really make something shake here, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the CSRA. There's so many people that leave this area and they leave the city and they go outward and they never come back and they don't want to come back. And I respect that. And I sometimes can see why. But I wanted to create a mark here in Augusta for the fashion community and really be able to say, hey, we can have fashion shows, we can do major events. We could bring some of these major retailers to us and create a market. So then we created the ZM Trunk Show, which was a fashion showcase or is a fashion showcase. And that's where we were after college. I really just worked. I mean, after high school, I worked my behind off to get to this point.
So you said the ZM Truck Show. I
Yes.
seen that. Is that a clip that Carlton put in his interview of
That
you?
was my first interview. No, Brother Trav was my very, very first interview, but
Shout
Carson
out
was
to
my
Brother Trav,
yeah,
man.
Brother Trav, right. He was my very, very first interview for him, and then Carson was my second. They
Okay.
both interviewed me in the beginning stages of the Xeon Tron show. We highlighted that in Augusta Fashion Week too.
Um, you said, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but you said that
Mhm.
sometimes you can see why people might not come back.
Yeah, because sometimes and I think I only experienced this not much, but I've seen it where our community can kind of be hard, or you got people. I know it's a lot of successful people. I don't know if people know that, but it's a lot of successful people from the area that have left the city and they're doing really, really well in their own niche and their own markets and industries, but they don't want to come back because they feel like they come back as like a crab. I've heard crab in a barrel mentality and all this other stuff. The negative stuff, right?
Right, right.
And so, but for me, I was like, I don't want to be that same story. I don't want to be that person that goes out, creates success for himself, and can't come back to do what he wants to do for his hometown. So to kind of break it down for you, if we're having the Trunk Show was solely to give a platform for other designers and other people that's in the area.
Hmm.
Those mothers, those fathers, those young kids in their 20s that want to go to college, but they can't make it to New York because New York is expensive, right? And so why can't we bring it to them here in the Augusta area? That's the whole purpose and mission behind that. And so for me, I want to be that person. The only legend that I think that people really constantly are reminded of is James Brown, right? And one of the things that he does a toy drive. So why can't when he was living, I've seen it myself personally. He would have a toy drive, and this man traveled the whole world,
Hmm.
and he would come right back to his hometown. That's to me, that's powerful. It's purposeful, and I want to be that same person that can do that. But more so for me, is in the fashion and luxury market.
So what was that though? I know we talking about the title, but what was you said ZM?
Trunk show, yeah.
Yeah.
So the ZM Trunk show was first initially
ZM
held.
Trunk Show?
Yeah, ZM. So like my initials,
Hmm.
Zaccheus Miles, and then Trunk Show.
Trunk.
Um, Trunk,
Okay.
like a trunk in the car.
Got you. Okay.
But so the thing with that was, I'm gonna tell you, it first happened at Tribeca Lounge downtown. I don't have that story to say I had to go away to create my success, right? I literally created every successful moment here in Augusta. Downtown Augusta, Tribeca, the owner, we had our first showcase with my bow ties. Started designing bow ties. And we were like, let's just call it as Zach's fashion line or something. I can't remember what we called it. And he was like, no, call it the ZM Trunk Show. And he literally went outside and we wrote on the board ZM Trunk Show. And that's where it was birthed at Tribeca Lounge.
Mm.
And so we had the first event, I had about maybe 30 people, 30, 40 people there at Tribeca. And then we went to the Augusta History Museum.
What they did, like,
Oh,
give me
it
a
was
snapshot of the show. Like,
yeah,
what's going
sure.
on?
It was a trunk show. So it was literally like a trunk show in a typical world is just like, like you ever seen those shows when you're a kid and they were the cars and all those antique road shows type
Hmm.
things, and you just seeing the merchandise. So we literally had the bow ties set up. The bow ties are set up in Tribeca Lounge across the bar on little glasses. We try to make it a little fancy. I ain't have no money. I ain't have any money back then. We made it as fancy as we could. And then we had live mannequin models in the window. So as you walk in the windows of Tribeca Lounge, there were two ladies, Jessica and Keisha. Jessica now, she's lived in Florida somewhere. Keisha's here in Augusta. And they were standing as live mannequin models wearing the bow ties. And
Mm.
so they showcased the work. It wasn't a fashion show walkthrough, nothing like that. And I made sure all my staff wore bow ties and everything too. And that was that. And that was the first one though. So that was where it was birthed. The second one is where we actually had the big shebang, and that was at the History Museum of Augusta, off Reynolds. And that was a fashion show.
Right over there.
Yep. It was a
Okay.
fashion show. We had hors d'oeuvres being served around the room. We had other designers, comedian Small Fry from BET Come and View, from BET Come and View. She highlighted in the event. Nadia Trammell from Columbia and Atlanta, they were there. We brought in a lot of people. It was about 200 people
From
for
30 to
that.
200?
Oh, quickly, like in 1 year. It was insane.
That's
It
great.
was uncontrollable. Like you got to remember, I'm 22, 23 at this time. I don't I don't even know much more, but just I have a vision, right? Thank God I have a lot of great supporters and people alongside that can like, pull in. We had black car services. We had valet before anyone thought of in this area what valet really was. Um, we had a lot going on, man.
That sound like it.
Music,
It sound
yeah.
good.
Cutno, shout out to Cutno Dance Studio. Like we
So,
had a lot of, and I made sure that it was local supporters first in
how
the
many
area.
how many did you do? Like what? Like I'm trying to.
Yeah, we did it up until 2016.
You
Um,
started in 2011, 2012.
2012.
Okay, okay.
2016, and then 1 year, Masters year, it was doing Masters event, and we thought it was a great idea to do the trunk show during Masters. Yes and no. It was good, but it was also bad. It was good because it did bring more attention, a little bit advertisement, but it was horrible because I had people come in from Vegas, from Florida,
Travel wise.
and you know how those hotels were. People were having to stay in Motel 8s for like $300 that night. That wasn't good.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Staying in Motel 8 is kind of crazy.
Man, when I tell you, I would, of course, I'm like, I would just, we just didn't think about it, right? And it wasn't even that fact that they couldn't afford the rooms. It was no
That's
rooms
crazy.
available in the city. Like
That's how
Marriott
it
was
be.
booked, and so the next year, when I saw that people were interested and they were really coming in together for it, we then formed the Augusta Fashion Week the following year after. And that was just to give it more like a more name that could be more respected for sure. But with Augusta Fashion Week, what ended up happening with that too, we ran that for about 3 seasons, one each year. And then pandemic happened and slowed us down. And
Mm.
I was in Charlotte, lived in Charlotte. I lived in Atlanta. I kind of lived a little bit every Dallas. But 2020, my team, we were sitting at the Cyber Center, preparing for Augusta Fashion Week to make his comeback. And then COVID came and shut us all
Yeah,
down.
COVID stopped a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's on a tangent. Just got I
Mhm.
ask questions like that
Oh, you're
sometimes.
good. I like
I need to
this.
know about your jacket. Like you made it.
Yeah. So this came, I'll tell you, I love my city. So always support. This jacket came from Vintage Uli.
Okay.
She recently just closed down her shop a couple months ago. I brought this jacket from her. I always try to support her when I can. She was actually, let me give her a shout out to. When I came back from college, Vintage Uli was the first place I interned at and sold. I ran her first fashion, or not ran, but worked behind the scenes at her first fashion show.
Okay.
Whatever. So, and then I just add the custom pieces at the back. So the custom pieces right here, just customized.
What inspired that? It's giving me Michael
Um,
Jackson like
that's his,
beat it kind of.
I hate to keep bringing because I don't want anybody to think like, because I really am inspired by these people, but I really am inspired by our hometown legend. Like, people would tell you, I wear a sparkly jacket. I have like clips of my pastor like making jokes across the pulpit, like, oh, there go James Brown coming down. Like, I love sparkling, like, stuff or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really inspired. Like, the man was the first black guy to own a private jet, and that's things that I aspired to have. So they are
No, I like the
inspirational.
jacket. It's dope, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I like it.
Now, when you see it, hopefully one day you see it as soon as we cover all over. It's just it's
Can
just
you
a
can you turn to the
process.
side real quick? The other
Yeah,
way, other
sure.
way, other
Yeah.
way.
Other way.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's what's
Yeah.
up, man. I see.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I just want it's fashion. So, I do want to ask you. I do want to ask you. What does fashion mean to you? And when I ask, some of us might think you just mean like clothes, what you wearing, the
Mhm.
name of what you're wearing,
Mhm.
how maybe how it look. I don't know. But when you think about fashion in totality, what is that, and what does it mean to you?
You have the greatest questions.
Hey, I be
And
trying, every now and then.
fashion to me is it's really, really, really important. It's purpose for me. When I told you earlier that I was that nerd reading the encyclopedias growing up, I would literally like pay attention to how they were dressed in the 1920s and 1800s and 1700s in history class, seeing how those women would pretty much try to break their rib cage just to get in something, or the men like how they would wear stuff like this, and they like tailored jackets and blazers. So for me, fashion is purposeful too because it also I can help you become a better person by how you look.
Mm.
If I can help you improve your life by making sure that I create and design something for you or style you in something that's geared towards you, then that's purpose for me. Um, of course, we love labels, we love the high ends and all of that, but my purpose and goal is to find that next Balmain, that next Louis Vuitton, that next Dolce, the next Chanel brand, and help elevate them to that next level. So the company ZMG is really inspired by like your LVMHs of the world, your Pradas, your Keurigs, and all them brands of the world that really help thrive those fashion and beauty brands to the next level.
Talk about that, ZMG. What is that?
Zaccheus Miles Group, ZMG, is a agency. We're a PR agency where we actually help premium and luxury brands form and collect their narrate their story to the next level. So I got into PR officially about a few years ago, in 2020, when the pandemic. We know we all kind of like shifted gears in our
Right.
careers. Um, and I didn't realize that I was already doing the work for my clients. So when I be styling and designing for clients, was already doing PR work for them or finding. I would do my own PR work, right? Like I would for our shows and stuff. And so we created the agency because we wanted to help other brands. We saw that there is a need for people to get connected to the right people and have their stories been told to as well fairly. And that's what we wanted to do with that.
Well, I asked the fashion question
Hmm.
because what like some people that start a clothing line,
Hmm.
they automatically think they're a fashion designer. So I'm assuming it's a difference there, and you might be the person that can kind of tell me with the right verbiage. I don't want to tell somebody like, no, that's not effing fashion, or make them feel bad. So like, what would be the difference between somebody starting a clothing line, somebody being a fashion designer, or
Hmm.
somebody that's just selling merch?
Are you talking about the ones that like just want to like just make T-shirts and then say they're a fashion designer? I'm
I
asking
don't
for
know, man.
clarity.
I guess
No, and it's no shade. I think everyone starts there. Where remember, I started off with bow ties, right? I started off making bow ties for myself because I would go into was at the time it was Rubens and all the stores and like I mean they just have the simple bow ties. I like told you creative, colorful things. Um, I think that everyone has an opportunity to be creative to create a design, but I think you need to learn the different components. When you see a fashion brand, let's use an American brand of Ralph Lauren, right? You see the entire brand as itself. Ralph Lauren is a designer, but you have your creative directors, you have your managers, you have your team, you have your seamstress, your ateliers, you have people that really get in the trenches. And so you have people that sketch for these major
mm,
designers. They're not sketching all those clothes. Now the forefathers and mothers did, yeah, they sketched it, but after at some point they have to pass on to the next person. And so for me, I think it's important to teach and show people that pathway, that rope through that lineage or um, that hierarchy of being a designer. It's more than just getting two pieces of material, sewing it together. You gotta have a story. Like, what's your story? Like any artist, if you're an artist out there, you know that you have a story. I mean, you have a story for your podcast. You have a story for why you started this. And I think that's important for people to also understand what is your story behind that. So I do get offended sometimes when I see people pop up with shirts and be like, I have my own clothing brand designer and let me put this out there since we on here. That whole white labeling, I know I can get my own clothing line because I can go to the same manufacturer that Gucci goes to and make their own thing. That's all great. That's what we call business. That's not a designer, right? Like you
mm.
just running a business and operating a business. You're not a designer. You who we want originality when we look in fashion. So one of the guys from the Columbia area, Carolina, Sergio Hudson, has designed for some of the most amazing, like the presidents of the world. I mean, not president, but first ladies of the world, and then he also designed for some of the biggest stars. But it was his originality to who he is and who what he has created that gives him that right to be like he's a designer. And he's been in the game for years. And people don't realize it's just not as putting a shirt together. This is one of my shirts. It's not just putting that shirt together, say I'm a designer. It's like we have to put in work along the way. Now the shirt can be a product of your brand,
Hmm.
but you're not a fashion designer if you just putting it together t-shirts. Not in
What,
my
what
world.
about that shirt? What's the meaning behind that?
1%. So
Oh,
one
I thought it
percent.
said 196. Open it real quick.
Nope.
My
one
bad.
percent. Yeah.
I can't see the microphones in the way. That's my bad.
Oh,
Okay.
you good? You good?
1%. What does
One
that mean?
percent. So like they say, like 1 to 3% of people in the world actually reach their purpose in life.
Mm.
Right. And so me and my friends, one of my friends, I haven't talked to her in a while, but we had this thing called 1% Club that I created just out of, my research. I told you I'm a nerd, right? And the reason behind that is because we always stop in progress. We don't like to go through the fire. We don't like to go through the pressure of the things of life. And so, Your Blue Ivies, they're the 1% of the world, they're the ones that are willing to go against the grain and ignore what the naysayers and haters are saying, and they thrive for purpose. And I want to help find those 1% in our generation because I think we're losing some of them.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
But for the people that are making shirts, so it's not to say that they not necessarily fashion designers, but it just levels to
It's
just fashion
levels.
in general. So
Mhm.
you can start, like you said, with bow ties. You can start with shirts,
Mhm.
and then you just kind of make your way up, or you maybe with connections, or you meet certain people, y'all collaborate, and then it blossoms into something different.
Do it full, don't halfway do it, right? Like, when I designed bow ties, started off, I was, and many people don't know this story, but it was literally running to Joann's with a few dollars in my pocket to buy some material and create, oh no, it was Hancock at the time, sorry, Hancock Fabrics to buy some material and make it work. But what I did was I had a photo shoot, I had models, I had shows, I made sure we had itineraries and schedules for them shows. I paid people $10 and $5 when I could, a piece of cake or something. I didn't
What
halfway
kind of
do
cake?
it or whatever that I could get for people to give me for free. Shout out to
Gotcha.
Shakara, one of she's one of my good caterers I normally use. Um,
She's from the city.
oh yeah, she's
I
she's
was
from
gonna.
She's from Beach Island.
Oh, she's not from the city then. She's from Beach Island. According to you, now I'm playing. But I do want to say that it's the whole time we've been talking so far. Like you have um, put people on, like just by supporting them, saying you
Every day,
support that person.
every day.
I get a lot of flack. They say I stir the pot sometimes. What they be saying?
I've
Karen over
seen
here,
it.
her
Yeah,
friends.
yeah,
Sometimes they say that,
uh-huh.
and I just be talking about supporting Augusta, and I feel like it is here.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes people complain about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know why,
Mhm.
but they do. And when I
Mhm.
address that it's not a support issue, maybe a you issue,
Mhm.
I become the bad guy. So it's good to see you supporting everybody.
So let's talk about it for a second. I've seen a lot of statuses about people support popularity.
Oh, I almost threw up. I almost threw up.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
oh boy.
People support popularity over, and I can understand certain point of views from that, but I do think it's again, don't halfway do it. I just recently even did an event and I put so I've self fund a lot of my stuff. Like a lot of my stuff is self funded from me. I don't really have $500,000 flowing through my pocket to produce $10,000 events, but I'm thankful to God that I've always been willing and able to make it happen.
Right.
When that popularity conversation always come up to me, I think it's more so of do we are the people just need to have a conversation. I think they need to call Zach, and let's figure it out because all the is true, but people supported my designs and my bow ties because I was literally everywhere. I was on. If you had a show coming up, I was like, "Yo, you want a bow tie? Let me get it to you or whatever." Oscar, Art Meets Fashion, many years ago, gave me an opportunity to get on his stage and showcase design and all that. So I literally have been blessed to be able to put myself everywhere. But I wasn't popular. No one knew me. No one knew me. They knew my mom and my dad. They didn't know me. They didn't know
Yeah,
me.
see? And you
Yeah.
said you was a nerd.
I was a nerd. I was a geek. So you already know I'm already X'd out. Nope. I wasn't hanging around the football players and all of that in school. I didn't have the big, supporter friends. We called ourselves the Skittles. There's the three of us actually, that were at the time. We called ourselves the Skittles. We wore mixed matching colors and stuff. And I have to post these pictures like later on so you can see it, but like, or send it to you. But we had mixed matching like colorful clothes and stuff. Like we were not the popular kids in school.
See, and I'm glad you said that because I pretty much say the same thing. I just say like, I think somebody looking at it from that perspective. I'm not saying it's wrong because perspective is always gonna be perspective. So
Yeah.
they may have a reason why they feel that way,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But if you starting, I'm gonna just use podcasting because it's
Yeah.
just easier, so I
Mhm.
won't get you in trouble, right?
Look.
So if you starting a podcast, right,
Uh-huh.
and you're doing it for a year,
Yeah.
maybe you're inconsistent. You might be dropping stuff here and there, but you
Mhm.
just filming and you going. You filming and you
Mhm.
going. You ain't got better. You
Mhm.
haven't took no feedback from nobody to get better.
Mhm.
The guess is just kind of vague.
Mhm.
And then people are doing those same people, but they're having better episodes than you. Whatever the
Mhm.
case may be.
Mhm.
You let's say look at me. Let's say look at me and they say, well, you're getting a lot of support.
Mhm.
It's and you're popular,
Mhm.
so they must support you because you're popular.
Yeah.
That's their perspective. It's not necessarily wrong,
Yeah.
but they also didn't see when I started in 2016 and I couldn't
Mhm.
get nobody on,
Yeah.
or I had to have whatever guest I was getting on the time and just make do what I had to do, and then just kind
Mhm.
of guest by guest, episode by episode, month by month, year by year,
Mhm.
whatever, and
Mhm.
grow it and grow it. So they seen a 2023 product that's been blooming since
Yeah.
2016, but they
Mhm.
just started in 2022, but they want that 7 years of me putting in work. They want that right then and there. It don't work that way.
So, and I'm gonna add into that for you. So there's two people that came to my mind while you're talking. Tyler Perry, right? His very first shows, nobody showed up to it. Again, I research a lot of stuff. So Tyler Perry had no shows, and now everyone wants to be at his door,
Mm.
right? Chanel, Coco Chanel, no one liked her designs. She was designing for the tailored jackets and all of that for women, but back then the women wanted the big dresses and stuff, and they didn't care for her, right? But now it's one of the biggest brands in the world. So, the biggest advice and encouragement I want to give to those people for that popularity conversation, and I said this to a few folks offline with when the conversation come up, like, just keep going.
Yeah.
You'll never know who walked through your door that may give you can have I've been in places where I've had like no money, no support, no love. Well, it felt like no support, no love. And then it was that one person that called me, yo, Zach, let me go ahead and get a bow tie off you. I'm like, dang, I just made $50 just that quick, right? So it's
That's
like,
it.
just got to keep going and keep pushing. But let's kill that popularity noise in Augusta, because the thing about it is when you go to Atlanta, you go to Dallas, you go to Charlotte, you go to New York, your competition is 10 times more than
Oh,
Augusta.
you might not know this. I don't know. You might not know it, but apparently the thing is, it's gonna be easier if they go to those places.
Oh
That's
no,
that's that's
no, no,
the
no, no.
that's the notion that I get from everybody saying they moving.
No. How can, so let's break this down since we're here. Since we want to go ahead and address it. If it's easier, then go do it.
Oh, you sound like me. I'm
Just
glad
go
somebody
do
else
it.
said it.
Because let me tell you something. The reason, and anyone who knows me know this, it doesn't matter what city I'm in, I can be in Europe. And I promise you, I come back to this area at least once or twice a year at minimum. And I want to help, right? I come here to help. And I do that because I know that we have a goal. It's beautiful here. It's not easy to go into Dallas or into Atlanta and come and do something when nobody knows you. If they don't know you in Augusta, how they gonna know you in Dallas or Atlanta or Los Angeles? You understand? Like
Yep.
LA, like those bigger cities, those bigger markets, they have people that have been working there for 10, 15 years, making you're a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be a big fish in a small pond for now, and use this time to. One thing I could appreciate about the city and the CSRA is that I've been given the time to kind of cultivate. Like I was sharing with someone, like when I did fashion shows, I told you years ago, we didn't know what we was doing per se. We just like I had a vision. The owner changed it to the trunk show, and he said, "Let's run with it." We had people coming in from all over Las Vegas, Florida, New York, DC, coming down to the shows. And yes, did we have problems and hiccups? We absolutely did. But we kept pushing into where my name kept getting into the right people's ear.
Mhm.
And to this day, I give credit to that time of my life before I give credit to anybody else. Period.
No, that's dope. And like I
Mhm.
said, I wanted to touch on that because the whole episode so far, you've been kind of talking about local people that you've been supporting, and I just know it's there. People say it's not there. I know it's there. I think it's a term people say out of frustration sometimes, but
Yeah.
a lot of times it's more of a self thing
Yep.
than a others
It's an
thing.
interior. It's a level of where you have to like self evaluate yourself and your intentions in your heart. Because you can walk downtown right now and we can find probably like, the building that we're in. There's people art community here, right? Like it's
Mhm.
like, come on now, like there's and you think these people are looking over popularity? No, if your artwork is good, if I want your artwork, I'm going to buy your artwork. Your artwork is for me versus Jane Doe's artwork over here
Yeah.
may be for you, and let's just be okay with that. And you have an option. Either you keep doing what you do or you shift with the times. We talked about culture and timing and how everyone wants everything so instantly right now, right? So like, there's a let's talk about fashion. There's a Chanel brand sitting right beside a Louis Vuitton store, sitting next beside a Gucci. You think Gucci is saying that they're getting more business because of popularity? And right now they may be able to, right? But they're not worrying about that. They worry about reaching their clientele, their audience, and their market, and that's just that. Like,
Yeah.
let's just do that. I am okay with knowing that my market is primarily premium and luxury folks, right? I'm okay also knowing that if I need to change some things to reach a different market audience, I'm willing to do that too. But you're never gonna hear me saying, "Oh, I'm competing," or they're not supporting me because they don't know me. Well, let me get in front of you so you can know me. Hi, my name is Zaccheus Miles. I do X, Y, and Z. Blah blah blah. And introduce yourself. I go. If you ever see me in Augusta, I'm probably somewhere around here hanging out, chilling, drinking wine, right? And I'm like,
Very fancy of you.
huh?
Very fancy of you.
This is one of my favorite things to do on my downtime, right? And so, but I've seen so many people walk in and they never introduce themselves, never speak to anybody. They be in their own silos. And it's like, how can I know what you do unless you tell me,
Mm.
you know? So that's
Makes
happening.
sense.
Enough of
Makes
that,
sense.
you know,
Yeah.
I get in the same vibe you get in with that. I'm
I could
like,
talk for 50 minutes about it, man. I can't do it no more. I don't know what else to do at this
yeah,
point. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I tried, I told everybody from now on I'm not recycling. I'm just gonna
And,
send them that episode I
and can I
did
give
and
a
just
shout
call
out,
it a
another
day.
shout out to because I think she gets a lot of slack of it too from what I saw. Jamie Barbie for her award show case because a lot of people always say, "Oh, the popular ones are the ones winning, etc., whatever." And the thing I love about her award show, because I think I shared with you, I didn't even know of some of the designers in the area until she had it. You know what I mean? So
Right,
I'm
right.
I'm thinking like it ain't none or very few, and there's so many other designers and people in fashion and beauty industry that I'm now becoming more aware of because of that. So instead of saying that, let's support. And you know her awards will come every year in January. So you got until February until December to kick up your marketing game to times 10. Get your billboards. Billboards are cheap now, y'all. Go buy you a billboard
All right, don't
and
stop.
put it out.
A lot of
Sorry.
people's putting billboards outside. I don't know why I feel like they, what I'm saying, you saying they cheap now. That is, but two things what you said.
Inexpensive, not cheap.
One,
Sorry.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. You gotta do it for the broke people now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But one with the war show. That's what I saw. I saw that. I see it
Mhm.
as uh, you're gonna see the nominees, and you're gonna be like, I don't know these. I don't know this person. I don't know
Mhm.
that person.
Mhm.
That's when you take the time to get to know that person,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Secondly, when you talk about a war show and I guess quote unquote popularity, I
Mhm.
mean, technically speaking, if people are voting for whoever, if anybody
Mhm.
can vote.
Mhm.
So I met you and it said they say Z.
Mhm.
I don't know the rest of them on it, right?
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna vote for Z.
Yep.
That's just how it goes, right?
Mhm.
So it just go back to kind of putting the work in and getting yourself out there.
That's it. It's
Because
all
if it's just about
marketing.
popularity, you just hit the button and be popular, right?
Well, if you're popular, it's because you did really well with
I already
marketing.
know. You ain't gotta tell me. I just I'm
And
giving
let
them the
me.
short
I
version.
work with a lot of music artists, and so we have one in particular, like that. I've seen the process behind the scenes. I've seen how like it goes through. Hey, it goes through one level of voting to before it gets to the official level, and then the board can even decide who goes and who doesn't,
Hmm.
right? And then all of that's based off of what you come. Because here's the thing: if I don't know you and I vote for you, if I don't know you and I vote for you, you still win. I'm not winning. I just voted for somebody I don't know. And there's been plenty of times I done went down the ballot and said, I don't know this person. Let me go look up who they are and listen to their music and listen to their sound before I actually voted. Just gotta kick up your marketing game. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
When Jamie had her, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of people to vote for. So I just kind of went off what I knew sometimes. If I knew you, if I wanted to vote for a person,
Yeah.
like put his credit or this, that, and third. But yeah,
But the fact that she does
I
it,
couldn't know every category. It's impossible. I don't get braids.
well, and Jamie does a really great job with, for what I've seen, of covering many levels in many industries I probably would have never thought of to even cover or
True.
want to cover, right?
Definitely true.
So for me, that's an appreciation for her, to just help again expand the market. This I don't think people in this well, some folks in this area know the value, right? But if the CSRA only understood how much greater this area would be if we just come together and sit and talk and make things happen, it would be a beautiful sight. My thing has been, why are we always getting on planes and cars, driving to Atlanta, driving to Charlotte, flying to Mexico, flying to Jamaica, to have a good time when we can curate those same experiences for people here and have them come to Augusta? That's how you get your money up.
I said that too. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Oh,
they weren't trying to hear
well,
me.
they're
I
gonna
don't
hear
know.
it. We're gonna keep saying it till they hear it. I'm
Hey, I'm down with
vibing.
that. Hey, if that's what you're doing, I'm down with that. I'm definitely down with that. Last thing on Jimmy though, if you see
Mhm.
her, tell her give me a call. Okay. A year ago, she had said we want to do a podcast. I went to the studio, set up. She never showed up. I want to get it out there. I couldn't hold
See,
it no longer. I want to get it out there.
now I'm gonna say this because I be, we will we'll chat here and there. Jamie is a busy, busy girl.
Yeah, not me though. I
Um,
can't be busy, huh?
huh?
I was busy too that day. I just kind of made time
What
for her.
you know, no, I'm with you on that making time
Oh,
now.
okay.
But Jamie, make sure you come to this podcast because you definitely need to be on here for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have no against her. You know, we still
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no,
I
no.
just
Just said she's busy. She is busy. I mean, Jamie is a mover and a shaker. And she's one of the people I definitely would see as a mover and shaker. So she's busy.
to her credit though, I will say I did my own research because
Hmm.
I had time. I just had an hour and some change now, right? Because
Yeah.
nobody showed up, and I was trying to go through the page. We were friends on Facebook. I said
Hmm.
I think she just went somewhere. I
Hmm.
think it was like a last minute thing.
She probably
She,
forgot.
I mean, yeah, I was. I think she went on a cruise. To be honest, with you, so I would have forgot too. Man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm still there
I,
waiting.
I'm sure she'll come though one day soon. I'm
It need,
sure.
we need to be soon. We got the
Yeah,
thing to talk about.
yeah.
But you said something else about that. That war show, knowing what time it is and when it's coming around, right? So
Hmm.
I last year somebody got upset for whatever reason. I was talking about it, and I guess they thought I was talking about them, which is fine.
Hmm.
But I also noticed that it's a war show is coming up now, and the same people that was upset ain't did nothing different than they did last year. So I just feel like I'm gonna get upset again, and I wanted to tell them like, hey, it's PSA. You in the same spot you was at last
Yeah.
year, so don't expect a different result this year.
What they call that though? What is that called when you do the same thing and expect different
It
results?
is a word for that.
It is a word.
I don't know if I want to say it, but it is a word for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say that word either, just in case somebody really deals with that
I don't
issue.
want no more
But
problems, man. I'm just trying to progress and do right and interview people. I want a
yeah,
podcast,
yeah, 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 yeah. No, but do better. You know, there's and the thing about it is that's the best I can say now because
They were just real aggressive.
because
The
when you
dude was
come
real
to my
aggressive.
one-on-ones, we just go straight into the juggle. You know what I'm saying? So like, do better. But no, in reality, there's so many. I meet so many people, man, across this country that are genuinely willing and ready to support and help people, but you want to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect. Let me be very clear. Like, you know, I still learn along the way, but I'm vulnerable and honest enough to talk about that, right? And so for me, I think doing better though, just simply say like, hey, if you had an issue last year at the SBA Awards or the process of it, and you know it's now July or August, you going into September, you literally have 4 to 5 months to make the best campaign ever. And if you need some help with that, call me.
Call Z,
I'll
man.
help you. Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, they ain't gonna
I
call.
know.
All right.
I know.
Sometimes it's easier to complain.
And
You
there
know.
is a fee though. So let me put it out there too.
Oh, a
Yeah.
consultation fee?
Yeah. I'll help you. I ain't gonna hit it's home. I ain't gonna hit them over the head.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I'll say this though, because I don't know how to get into it. I like the conversation we had thus far,
Yeah.
but I do know there's some things you wanted to address. Well, we want to
Mhm,
address.
mhm.
So I want to start with saying first, I had Natalie Bryan on a podcast.
Yes.
Phenomenal voice.
Mhm.
She does great podcasts. I just could sit there and just listen to talk all day.
Yeah. Mhm.
But when we had our podcast, she also mentioned another event
Uh-huh.
that now I'm hearing you were a part of.
Yes.
Soiree. That's the only way I know of it.
The classic soiree.
All right,
Yeah.
it's too fancy for me. I'm not gonna lie. It just these words is But uh, unbeknownst to me, it
Mhm.
was a lot of drama behind that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I did get my popcorn this morning. I watched some videos. I did my little
Oh
research. You know what
gosh.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh,
What kind of popcorn did you have?
I'm lying. I didn't have popcorn. I
Oh.
can't eat popcorn, man. Don't get me lying on the pod, man. Just you should let me roll out. All right. I had some soda. I just all I had. I ain't nothing
Okay.
today.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
uh, if you can tell me what that event was, and was that you I spoke with? Did I speak with you? Somebody
About
had
the event?
messaged me and was like to come through because I guess they seen
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See,
Yep.
my name not Bobby. See there? I got you. Yeah. Yeah. But you call
It
me Bobby. It's
was. I
fine.
invited you and you didn't show up, but we're not gonna go there. But
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Can I be honest with you?
yeah.
I keep it a bean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I seen money involved. I was like, well, hold up. I'm broke. I ain't got no
Oh
money.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
got a
No.
little money. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie.
No. I
But
got
on the camera, I'm
you.
broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my Sunday was kind of fine without spending the extra money. So I was like, I thought you wanted me to come do some work. So I was just gonna come through and like do some filming.
That would be good too. So
You didn't word it that way. So I was like, oh.
I don't even know what I said to you, but I do. I just knew.
$40? No, I'm playing. You didn't say that, but
No,
still, you threw
because
a
you're
number out there.
media. You're considered media for me. So
I ain't
no.
know. You didn't specify, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we had to wait for a
I ain't want to
response.
sound broke, so I was like, all right.
Ah, no, you're good. No, and here's the thing with that. So, yeah, the classic soiree. It was. I'll tell you the bitch behind, but I'm gonna address this part. The fee part, because I heard it from a few people, and it is strategically at a price point for those who are in the luxury market to enjoy and have a good experience or what have you in the area. But it is all started off by as a dinner. I had no intentions to have this event the way that it became. It was a dinner just set for some of my local people who have supported him over the years, right? And I wanted to give them an opportunity to come in. We had saw this amazing venue. Shout out to Gracewood Manor. Their venue is immaculate. If you have not been there, it's a beautiful venue, perfect for weddings and intimate premium style events, right? And so we had partnered with them for their charitable event, and then vice versa. They gave us the opportunity to use their venue, so we did that. For me, I wanted to have a dinner initially for my supporters because we were getting ready to produce a conference here in the CSRA to bring all these like realtors and financial people, entertainment people that I've met over the years, and say, "Hey, home, here y'all go. They're right here at your fingertips. Let's have it." And I wanted to talk to my supporters first, but
Mhm.
then me and my friends, we all created like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. This is a good idea. Let's create this big event. And I always want to have like this big. You ever seen this called like the classic, the Polo Classic event where the big champagne brands and all the support it. We want to have some. I've always wanted to do something like that, and I felt like this is a perfect time to kind of try to introduce it on a micro scale. And so we created the event, and then I always give back, mostly to HIV/AIDS organizations, because as in my friends and family, I've seen it how it can impact them firsthand.
Mhm.
And so for me, I've always given back. But this year, I had one of our colleagues. She was like, mental health awareness would be good or whatever, and one of my former mentors is like mental health awareness would be good. And so we decided to do that instead.
Alright, I'm pause there
Mhm.
just for, story purposes. So
Yeah.
you didn't use mental health as a way to, like,
No,
you didn't
no, no,
use
no,
it. It
no,
just
no.
y'all chose to go with something different based on the people that was coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't do that whole using a cause to draw people in. Like if it doesn't have anything to do with me or have any personal impact to me, I'm not going to
Okay.
support it.
I think that was
Um
just one of the things that I either I heard or was said, so I wanna make sure that I clear
Yeah,
that up
thank
as
you,
you.
thank you for even mental health awareness. The reason why even like Natalie, like I actually Natalie had taken some of my consultation because she has a tea brand. I don't know if you
Mhm.
guys spoke
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
she has a really good tea brand, right? And so mental health awareness is just something we need right now in this time and daily world that we're in. Like we're dealing, we have dealt with racism and COVID and all these in the last couple of years, and even myself. I mean, you have family, you have, life happens. Like things
Right.
go crazy, things go wrong. You may not be talking to. I lost my father. Siblings. Drunk. Just things happen, right? And so for me, I wanted to have a moment where we can have a safe place to come together, have a good time, but then also still let's take a pause in a moment and actually talk about what's really at hand in the world.
Mm.
And right now, mental health is one of those things. And more so deeply, and to be more clear, it was more so for depression and suicidal.
Got you.
Because for address, especially in our Black community, we kind of like run away from it. We run away from therapy. We run away from talking your problems out. And or if you are vulnerable to do it, people use it against you. And it's like, yeah, no, let's not do that. Like,
Right.
like keep it real. So we had a whole, so it was like a whole, fun part. The fun part of it is the cars, the fancy stuff. Mercedes Benz drove their cars out. We had music and we had DJ Waffles from Atlanta. That was our original sound and music guy. And then it was really outside, outdoors.
Why you didn't get Augusta DJ?
Oh,
I'm just
well,
playing, I'm just playing, I'm just playing.
no, let me since you brought it up, because here's the thing too. I'm DJ Waffles was actually referred to me. So
Oh.
by somebody here in Augusta. So like for me, I just wanted to I still keep connections. And I had, my people
Is
on
that a house music
Augusta.
DJ? House music DJ?
No, he's like he's a celebrity DJ.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he's really big and popular. And he has a waffle brand here, so I wanted him to come and show his waffle brand to it's a brunch called the Brunch
A
House.
waffle brand?
He has a waffle
Okay,
brand. Yeah,
okay.
it's like a waffle mix. The Brunch House in Augusta.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking.
I actually made sure they met too that morning of the event, so they it could be some collaboration. Like
Got you.
again, bring in some
That's
stuff
dope.
here
That's
so
dope.
people can enjoy it. And then we had live performers. Well, man, we had some amazing singers. Jessica Shepard, number one. Janine JB Bell, she's a jazz artist. AE The Cool, Soul J, Shauna Dominique. Trey showed up, but he didn't sing. That he was right behind time. But yeah, I use Augusta folks. Like I'm gonna always try to support and partner. And
That's
then we
dope.
had Wink Castillo and Sound and Standard Entertainment. They were there too, performing.
Okay.
But let's clarify though, for sure. This event was not It was for mental health awareness to bring awareness to mental health. And we had a panel. I brought in a lady from Dallas or Houston, Texas. She runs a nonprofit organization, and her story that was shared with me was that she had went through a lot of mental health awareness things or
Mm,
whatever. So she came in, and then we had the panel with Natalie, Candace, Chiquita from Fayetteville. Like, we had people came from Fayetteville, North Carolina too. So it
okay.
was a pretty good thing.
But, so but I think the event for the most part, what I heard was successful, so it was a
Oh
good successful
yeah.
event. It just seems that people felt like they didn't get something they was promised. I don't know if that works for you. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So no successful event for sure from the front side of it. Overall, like, I mean, one of Keith Jones and Champ Walker, they have fashion brands. Champ's brand is called Tata Croc, and Keith Jones is Keith Jones Couture. Like, amazing design, a suit guy, like suit for men and women.
mhm,
And he actually designed women clothes too, by the way. So you can go check him out. But they loved it. People loved it. We actually got calls to bring it to other cities. So we're in the process now of like how to form the team, and I'm praying that I can get enough of our core people, a group here from the Augusta area, and just travel with everybody. But we want to travel to different cities and actually like duplicate the experience. But not but period. The other part for that is that I want to make sure that Augusta would be able to hold it, because it's more than a Masters, right?
yeah,
So let's bring
definitely.
a luxury experience here to the city and the CSRA that can become a household name for years past our death date, that can continue to grow and evolve over time.
Okay. Um, so I think it was 2 things
Mhm.
that I saw, and I don't know which one to address first. One, I wanna talk about just because I feel like I didn't understand why this particular entity would wanna be involved, anything like that,
Yeah.
but it was, something to the fact of no, I can say it. It was, it's a foundation, I don't know the name of it.
Oh, Freddie Mae
Freddie Mae,
Foundation.
okay.
You saw the
I keep
letter?
saying Annie Mae, and I don't know why I keep saying that for.
Well,
That's
somebody called me and said Fannie Mae, and Fannie Mae
which one is
is
it?
It's Freddie Mae. It's
Freddie
Freddie Mae.
Mae,
Freddie Mae's
Freddie
the
Mae.
official name, but
Uh,
Fannie Mae, I don't. Fannie Mae is something else. But I was like, Fannie Mae, like, what's what's
what's
going
love got to
on?
do with it? Eat the cake anime. That's why I keep saying
Yeah,
that.
anime.
Okay.
So there's a
Yeah,
lot of
Freddie
Mays.
Mae
No, seriously, Freddie
Foundation.
Mae.
Okay.
Yep.
I seen him at the summit as well.
Yep.
Um, don't know him per se, but I seen him
Yeah.
there. So what was said is that that they was missing some scholarship money or something like that.
Yes. So I want to clarify that too. So
They said a
Freddie,
scam actually. That's the word. It's
yeah, they call me
scam.
a
That's the word.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Scam.
So I'm
Are
not a
you a scammer?
scammer. I wish, not wish, I don't want to say that. But if I had the blood to wake up and be a scammer, man, I'd be rich. I wouldn't be in Augusta talking to you right now, actually, probably.
Yeah, you
But
definitely would.
I don't
None of
know.
the scammers ever be in
I
Augusta. They
don't
always on
know.
vacation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be on some island somewhere. I mean, I really would probably be on the island, like watching your podcast and just laughing or something. I don't know. But no, I'm not a scammer. Um, Freddie Mae Foundation. So I met Chris a few years ago. I actually helped manage his first campaign when he ran for student council, and I've always supported his initiatives to help the community, help the homeless, etc. Freddie Mae Foundation, our agreement. So initially, we had someone out of Atlanta that wanted to give a scholarship to somebody who, or they asked, was there any entities that was a part of the event that would, or any students or kids that would be there to get a scholarship? And
Hmm.
it was adult only event, so I knew there wouldn't be any kids. But we did ask if Christopher had anybody in his foundation that would be deserving. So he told me that he did have like a few kids in mind that he mentors.
Gotcha.
Um, and I asked him, has he ever done anything for scholarships before? And he said they've done like, like business stuff or whatever. But primarily, what we agreed to do was after the Atlanta people backed out, and they backed out only because their partners had given out so much, like $20,000 at the time, and they would just say, wait for next year. I'm a person that once I say we're going to do something or start speaking about it, let's go ahead and work through it. We agreed to give a scholarship to whoever he would recommend, and it would be $1,000, and that would go directly to the school. They called me a scammer because they're saying that, or it was stated for what I've read, that we were going to do it through to the foundation. You don't give scholarships to foundations, or like I don't. I'm not giving it to Freddie Mae. I'm giving it to the child. and it goes to the school. So we already contacted Kennesaw State and all that, figured out the process. We're just waiting for, and I haven't heard. I was shocked when I saw it because I hadn't heard from Freddie Mae Foundation's team at all. No emails,
Yeah,
no
because
calls, or
they
anything.
had put something out, I guess.
Yeah, they put out a release, but I hadn't heard anything. Like, no one had reached out to me. No one called me. I think I'm blocked because I tried to send a message to Chris and it didn't go through as delivered. You know how
He
iPhone
probably
system.
upset you now.
Yeah, I mean, but don't be. Call me. Like,
He said, "Don't be."
I'm really an easy person to work with. Like, I don't have that blood in my body to like be negative. I don't. I mean, I hosted a whole event about mental health. Why would I be negative? You know what I'm saying? Like that
So
doesn't.
I know I
Now
try not to use
I'm
names.
human, so I will. Let me be clear because we family, friends. People always disagree, but I'm not. Call me. Chris can call me.
So, but so the event was yours. You threw it, or
Yeah,
it ran through you,
ZMG.
or ZMG. I'm sorry,
hmm
ZMG.
hmm
So, but the artists, were they supposed to get paid for performing or something like that?
Yeah, so that's another
In the
story
movie I watched
too.
this morning, it said something like that,
The
like people
live.
didn't get
Yeah,
something like that.
I didn't see the live. I got clips of it, and screenshots and things like that. And I'll just say this about that. So we had an agreement that because I don't really talk too much about my business out, but and I hate that some of that was shared out. But just so we can clear or be able, so I can say my story, we had an agreement. The agreement was to take theory, but you know how events things fall out, things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
And for me, the sponsors, like I had like three sponsors pulled out on me. I had to take care of people's flights and hotels and all that. And I just told you I self fund a lot of my stuff, right? So what I did communicate with the entity was that we need to let's give me some time to clear things out for you or whatever. And they even overcharged, they overpriced it. And the fee that they gave me was for the exterior of the event when we was gonna have the big outdoor stage,
Hmm.
not for the inside. And so we just had to let legal go the legal
Gotcha.
route with everything at this point because of the way that the conversation was handled. This is and mind you, like you said, I put everybody on, right? And so I was willing to have these people be a part because initially our plans was not to have like a live band and all that stuff. We had DJ Waffles there, you know what I mean? What else would we need a live band for? And the artist was willing to sing to tracks. Like most of them that agreed they was gonna sing to tracks anyways. But I love a live performance. But one of the things for me is that how can I say this? I'm always putting people on. And so like I have been working with this person for like the last 3 or 4 events or whatever, and even like some of our corporate stuff that we've done. I'm always willing to help and put people on. I was disappointed when I saw how the live came out
Mm,
and what was being said, how it was said. Um, and the only reason why that person hadn't heard from me directly is because of the aggressiveness of the conversation that was text to me. You know?
gotcha.
So at that point, we're like, hey, we asked to complete paperwork. I didn't, let me say this, because somebody said, I didn't do agreements or contracts. We didn't have them signed up front, which is typically not a thing for me as a business person. But because it felt like family. And so for me, what we did ask though for was to have it completed, and they denied completing the paperwork. But that's how I can get you clear,
Hmm.
right? So it's like, let's talk about it. Let's make sure that let's have moments where we can actually work it out.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing. It was like, hey, y'all didn't have to do all of this, like, all this, because at some point you're sharing false information, and it's not fair. It's not fair at all.
Yeah, my own thing, one Epic Live was more so like, how'd you feel about it once you saw it? Like whether it's true, not true. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I'm not here to
Yeah,
investigate.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
really
yeah,
care.
yeah, no,
But
no.
I did want to know, like, how did you feel about that being who you are and what you
Mhm.
do, and if that kind of affects whether you choose to continue to do things in Augusta versus the Dallas or your Atlantas, or
Man, so yeah,
because you said it felt like family.
if it It felt and it feels like, I mean, I have family here. I'm from this area. Like my family can be stretched across this country, to be honest. Like if we really dig deep to my family roots. Like we come from, back in the day, they had 20 kids, 20, 40 kids.
Yeah,
And
it was kinda wild back then.
my great grandmother was one of them. My grandfather had like 12 siblings, I think it was. But so um as far as how I feel about Augusta now, that's a good question. I would never change. I would never change. I would never allow, and I think one of the things was said, like I got rent out of different areas, and it's like, no, that's not it. I like to move around, and I like to move around because I believe in building my business, and I can't reach Nevada if I'm in Georgia unless somebody from Nevada comes to Georgia, right?
Mm.
So I've always been willing to explore. My mother did really well growing up, making sure we travel to see the world or country, and I've always been willing to live in other cities. So for me, it doesn't change how I feel. I felt disappointed in what I've heard, because my phone does stay on D&D, so I'm not a phone call away, not my personal phone. My personal phone stays on D&D, but you do have way to contact. You can contact my business or whatever, reach me. But I feel like it just showed me who I can work with and who I can't.
Mm.
In business, you're not going to get along with everybody. Some things are going to happen. Some things are going to fall short. Things are going to just happen. I deal with it with clients with PR. They go through ish all the time. Um, but I'm going to continue to do what I need to do. I just told you that I felt like I was purposeful to do things here in Augusta, and that's what I'm going to do. We're going to make sure that we continue to move forward, and we're going to take care of whatever we need to take care of from a business standpoint. That's never been a question of a doubt. Um, but yeah, Augusta's home. I would never
From
ban
from a
myself.
personal standpoint, with a lot like that and things that was said, you mentioned earlier, and I thought about this when you said it. I don't know why, but you mentioned earlier like legacy. Do you feel like it hurt you a little bit too because that's something somebody can kind of see as attached to you,
Um,
or they're trying to attach to you rather?
It could have an impact on it. It could have an impact on it, but I believe character always shows who you are when you're in a room. Character speaks for you when you're even not there. And so
I think you shared something like that on your Facebook page. You
I probably
shared
have. I try to, and
the most important thing of a man is character.
character is huge.
Marcus Garvey
Um,
said that. I
we
think
I don't know if I share. I don't know. I share a lot of statuses and quotes, but
could have been. I don't know.
I will say that's the thing for me. So if someone ever had questions, I communicate with our people, like anyone in my network, like everyone knows what everybody knew my situation before anybody knew anything. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying, or before any lie was happening, because I'm very honest and open and transparent with a lot of things. Sometimes probably too open and transparent. But I will say this. I will say that if it impacts it, it's never something that can't be redeemed. It's never a moment where life can come back full circle. And then, like I told you, like that person that's crying about popularity, keep going, because you just never know when you may meet that one person that could change your entire life. And that's how I try to look at it. Did it, have I have some people have reached out to me and concerns about other things, like even so much of like my safety and things like that. Um, but we all just continue to keep moving, pushing through, and let's
Um,
make some things shape.
so one of the things I also saw from that, and it's not necessarily about the actual topic at hand, was
Mhm.
that the jail report had reached out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this. I don't know. This is me.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I don't know if he was charged with something or not charged. I don't know.
Oh.
I think it's very weird or strange for the jail report to reach out to you on that.
Yeah, that was super weird. It was scary. It was scary. Like I'm like, wait, because let me tell you why I was scared. Not even from a criminal standpoint. I was scared for more so like what's happened in my family that I don't know about.
Mm.
Like did someone murder or or killed, or they're trying to verify my family's identity, to get to me, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. And then it's like when I saw the email and I read it, and it was sent when the email was sent to me and I read it, and I was like, okay, wait, no, this is about this situation. And I'm like, the jail report, like, why would you reach out to me? And so I have been, just so we know, I have been in communications with them as well. And
Well, you do PR, so I get that. It's just
yeah,
very strange for somebody not to be convicted or charged with a crime and they reaching out. Like I have my own takes on the jail report. I don't think they do the best for our community, in my opinion.
well, let me say this in reference to the what I've heard and spoken to, or not spoken to, but we text. I do believe that like what they do, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I'm a fan of any publication, but not a fan of exposing people's,
Yeah.
issues or criminal things until you are proven guilty, right? Um, but I do appreciate them for wanting to verify anything first, and just kind of see what it is. And the biggest concern I think that they had too was that, are you a scam or not? And it's like, no, I'm not a scammer. Like
You
I'm not.
better hope they put it in the article.
Well, I've sent I've proven the conversation of what we agreed to, as well as far as like what we agreed to as far as like the scholarship and stuff. Because that was the thing. I'm not that. I'm really not that person. Like I'm not. Number one, as a child, as a kid, I was raised in a single parent household until my mom got married to my pops, and I know like when I remember how that felt when I wanted to go to Parsons, and I knew that that was out of my range financially. You know what I mean? So I would never drag a child. And here's the thing, I don't think the kids shouldn't know that they got the scholarship yet, because the biggest thing that we actually said was we wanted to present it to them first, and we wanted to make sure that the parents know and all that. So that was the last conversation I had with the foundation about that, and I've been waiting for them ever since. But like I said, they haven't reached out to me. So
Only thing I would think about is like with an article like that, you don't know what the title of it gonna be. You just know they're reaching out, so
oh
they getting
yeah,
your part, but you don't know what
yeah.
the title gonna be.
Well, that's something that we, and one thing is the unfortunate part about PR and working the PR side, that we see that you can't always control every
Yeah,
narrative or
yeah.
every story. And I don't try to control it. I just hope that they will use their best judgment in reference to finding out and doing their due diligence to do the research they need to do to prove whatever they trying to prove or not prove. And I don't even know if it's going to even be published or not at this point. But I will say this, that I do. It's nothing that I can't prove, if that makes sense. So, like for me, I don't have a problem saying to anybody on live and say like, yeah, this is what happened. This is what do, and I won't draw innocent names into it. But I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. I'm about my ish, and I'm gonna take care of what I need to take care of. And now moving forward, um, that foundation entity, unless their VP or someone wants to come and talk to me and sit down and have that conversation, um, we would have to have just separations of ties at that point, because we don't believe in doing things like without integrity. Like you
Yeah.
got to move with integrity with everything you do. And I think the piece of that was like, hey, come talk to me, like have that conversation with me. And or if you don't know how to reach me, you know how to reach people that know me. So I'm not hiding nowhere. Like you know what I mean. Like I go to, I'm always in the city. I'm always somewhere in the area, not hiding. So just come and talk to me. And I'm on Facebook and social media all the time.
He said the church was hiding you.
No,
I'm just throwing out. I'm just
let's clear
letting you know.
that.
I'm just
Let's clear that
letting
up,
you know what he
because no,
said, man.
let me tell you, my church. First of all, when I went uh missing one time, right? And like it was years ago, and I wasn't missing. My mother, she was concerned, right? And so the church, I remember my pastor knows exactly where he's at. I'm never hiding. I'm always available. Somebody knows where I'm at all times. And the church did not hide me. The church actually, they don't even know what's going on. Well, unless they got the live or something, they didn't even know. And I'm not gonna put my church name in it, but I mean, you do your research, to find out. But like, no, and uh, if you want to find me, I'm not just at church. I have, you know what I mean? Like I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere. Like I can get a call today and say, Zach, we need you to fly somewhere Tuesday, and I have to get on a plane to fly. So
Yeah. I mean, you're a busy man, so
I am.
just like
I
Jamie.
am. But I came to my interview, Jamie. Got one up on you, just FYI, in case you saw
Hey,
this
yeah,
interview.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm Team Z right now. You know what I'm saying? So Jamie gotta, do her thing.
We team Z and J.
Yeah,
Jamie.
I'm team her. She doing a good thing. If
Yeah,
you're in
she
the city
is.
doing something good, I'm for you. I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah. I think the next thing for me is that we want to for like the classic soiree. So the biggest thing, you made a point earlier about the ticket pricing. I will say to you, like that was the hardest thing for me to even charge that amount that I charged for the
You want to
classic
charge
soiree.
more?
Well, my mentor told me to charge more. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not the market where we can charge 500. You got to think like some of these people are like dealing with $1,500 admission
Mm.
fees and places, stuff like that. So I was like, no, this is not. And that too kind of did put a I knew at that point that I would need support, and that's why we would reach out to the sponsors we reach out to. But yeah, in order to produce an elaborate event as it was intended to be, you would need like But our goal is to preferably we can find supporters from the community, and not have to bring outside supporters in. And be able to push it for next year. 2024, we expect for it to be super massive, where it needs to be, and it won't just be only at that one location. Um, it would be spread out throughout the
So you
city.
plan on throwing another one there again next year?
Yeah, we're gonna keep it in Augusta. Yeah,
All
we
right,
we,
what's
we
up?
had we had we had I had some questions, but if Augusta want to experience a a luxurious experience here, then I'm willing to do it.
That's dope. He could
Yeah,
just find you next year at the same place then.
yeah, that's true. But by then, I mean, he won't have no reason to find me.
Hey, look, I think that doing events, especially events where where there's money involved and there's a lot of people, a lot of hands in the pot. I think there's always somebody gonna feel like they slighted for somehow,
Yeah,
some way.
yeah.
And I think, like you say, communication probably is the best way.
Mhm, mhm,
I do think this is my personal opinion. I do think the moment you like go live or if you start to be aggressive, you kind
mhm.
of like halt any kind of communication that can happen from then on because everybody not gonna be in that type of time.
Just for the protection of both parties. Like,
Yeah,
for me, so like one thing we do with our PR clients, anytime there's a disagreement with one of their affiliates and they will have something crazy going on and something goes left, like at that point we can't like you go to your legal attorney at that moment to take care of whatever because you don't want to put anyone in harm's way or in danger or it goes left unintentionally, right? Rightfully so. If you're upset about something, I could be upset with you about something, right? And then next thing you know, I'm saying something, and I say one trigger word to you that ticks you off, and unintentionally it could bounce back to me, right? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So like we don't want that. So at that moment it was like let's just communicate a different way. And so but by that time I think singers have been called and like all my partners, and then you start to arrest like people and partners of mine, and it was innocent people got pulled into this that should not have gotten pulled into, and I publicly apologize for them getting pulled into that because at this moment, these people are we all have the heart of gold. We just care, right? And I flew people in, man, from one from Dallas and one from Houston with the intentions to say, hey, come to my city, come to my area, show them what you guys can do as far as your support in the nonprofit sector, in the financial sector, or what have you. And that was like my little intro to the festival, the conference that we want to bring. And so, just when I heard all the buzz, and again, these are things I heard, right? So these are things that people are coming back and saying to me what people have said. No one has
Yeah,
said nothing directly to me. Just when I'm hearing all these things, it's like, yo, like this shouldn't have been this way. Like, we are here for a purpose. And we will continue to be here for that purpose. But you live and you learn. Like I think sometimes, you know how they say money can be the root of all evil. Oh, and let me say this: it was also said too that the building was full of money, and it may have been, but I don't know people's pockets. So one thing I do know, a lot of people were invited, especially guests like that didn't come.
yeah. See, I wasn't sure. I just know I had $40. I was like,
No, I'm
man,
joking. I'm joking. No, and I mean, even people, I'm that guy, like literally, like you would have called me, and some folks that were in the room did this. Like you called me and said, "It's like I can't afford, but I want to come." Okay, let me work out something for you, or just send this, or do that. Right? That's the type of guy that I am. Now, I can't promise you it will be that way all the time because typically I have a whole group of people. Um, that are with me, my team, some of my team members that normally do help me with my events. And when they say no, they handle it, right? And that was also too, like I didn't have all my people with me this time.
got you.
It's like typically when I don't have them with not typically, when I don't have them with me, I miss them or I don't do nothing. One of them had got, some people got married, folks lost loved
Life.
ones, life
Yeah,
happened, and so next you don't expect the same type of response from people,
got you.
because it won't be me talking to you.
There you go. I wanted to ask you this like as a exit
Mhm,
question and stuff like that,
mhm.
but what are some new like fashion trends that you're seeing? That maybe I don't see it yet. What's
Yeah.
new? What's the next thing in fashion
The
from what you
next
see?
thing in fashion,
Bow ties coming back. Bow
bow
ties
ties?
coming back.
I don't think they are coming back, but I think they never went away. bow ties never going away. You go to Lionel Smith right now in Aiken, and like you can find your bow ties and pay like $80 for a bow tie, right? Like 80, 95, where their price range is. Um, what's next in fashion, I think, is people are more comfortable in their skin and in their sexuality, as I use that word, where we're seeing a crossover between genres in fashion. So like,
Oh, like men wearing
yeah, like you know, you
nail polish.
that, yep.
Yeah, I be seeing that a lot now.
Yeah, and then you know, like a lot of men, like NBA players and stuff, they get a lot of slack because they would be seeing like with kilts on, and people call them skirts. Like they're not skirts, they're kilts. It's a whole, you know, it's a Scottish, you know, Irish thing, right? But I think for me, the one thing I want to see in fashion is simplicity, simple silhouettes. So I want to go back to the old glamour 1800s phase. I think that's where we'll be heading in spring or summer next year. Um, I also think too, this is like one of my little scientific conspiracy things. I think it's hard to really detect where the industry will be heading in fully because of global warming. Like, you know, it's a lot of things changing. We are looking for more sustainability brands, sustainable brands, brands that you know, we can recycle, you know, things, people are making things from things they got in their house
Yeah.
or, you know, materials that easy and helps our environment. We're really trying to help towards that, but you know, that's that. That's the best I have for you with that for
All right.
fashion.
The last question I have is what era? Because you mentioned the Roaring Twenties or all that stuff
Mhm.
like that. What decade you feel like had the best fashion?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say my favorite was probably the 60s and the 70s. Um, that was the area that I feel like where
Like the afros and the bell bottoms?
no, not past that, just the creativity of
Oh,
it.
oh, okay.
Creativity of it. Like that was the area, you know, like when everyone was
That
free.
hairstyle they had.
Everyone was free. No one cared about. They just wanted to look good, feel good, dance the night away. You know, people with whoever they want to be with. Nobody cared. But that was where most of your true designers were formed and breathed from the era. Like some of the designers that that we wear right now were created in that time
Mm.
span. So for me, that's my favorite era. And you know, that's why I say I want to go back to that time, like where the dresses were simple. It was just a simple, chic dress. The guys just had on a nice button down, tailor fit blazer, pants, and they went out and they had a good time. I think that's where my favorite time and era has always been.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
Look, this was a dope conversation, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming through, clearing up, and then just talking about your story. I think that was the best part to me. That's why I to the end because I didn't really,
Yeah.
wasn't that big of a deal to me. I wanted to get your story out before anything.
Yeah.
But just tell people where they can find you, where they can reach you at, and how they get in
Sure.
contact. Because you said call Z a lot, so just give me a number maybe.
Yeah, no. I don't give you my I don't get now.
Email address.
That's one of the things. Let me tell you something right now. My people would be like, "Why do you keep giving that?" Especially my mentors. They're like, "Why do you keep giving your personal number?"
Tell
Because
everybody to call you.
I'd be in an event and I'm like, and I'll be thinking about it. I'd be like, "Let me text you really quick," and I'm texting from my person. I'm like, "Oh shoot, texting from my person." That's why my phone stays on DND because people call me all day, and unless you're a paid client with a retainer, that's all we're gonna get through. Oh, seriously, where you can find me at zmgglobal.com is our company's website. You can follow me on IAM Zaccheus Zaccheus. Most importantly, go to meetzach.com and it has all my links there as well. The biggest thing for me too, I want to thank you for the podcast. Your podcast is really
Appreciate you.
good, like really
Thank
dope.
you.
You really answer really great questions. But I want to leave this with this here. And this is for the CSRA. So if you're watching in another city and state, this does not apply to you. But CSRA, call me. I'm willing to get into the trenches and help you develop whatever you need to have developed as your brand. If you want to go to the next level, I'm really big on that. We're all a work in progress. We're all trying to help ourselves become better at what we do. I just like how I have to give advice to clients. I have people giving me constructive criticism and feedback, and I'm never, you know, people that attend the soiree and all my events. They tell me they're good, and they also tell me what they want to see next year and how they want to see it better. So we take that feedback, we implement it, and we make it better for next year. So the classic soiree, we are planning on bringing it back to Augusta 2024. ZM Trunk Show and Augusta Fashion would definitely be also something that we would be aiding and coming back to as well. And a couple other things that I'm working through. And I need y'all to go to Dillard's in the Augusta Mall and go purchase these new fragrance brands, Joe Malone London and Parfums de Marley, all to support your local areas. People are really trying to invest a lot of money into this area
Mhm.
to give it to that next level. So, and the only way that's going to happen is if we stop spending our money in other cities and area and take a time to spend our money here and bring people here. And that's the goal for me.
Look, man, I appreciate you. Lovely interview, lovely
Thank you.
conversation, love the
Same.
jacket. You know what I'm
Appreciate
saying?
it.
Definitely
I'll
a
get
dope
you one.
jacket.
I'll get you one as long as you wear it, or I'll
I,
get you a hat or
I'm
something.
aware.
Maybe we could
Yeah,
do one that says more than masters and make it
yeah.
see.
I might not get a hat. I might get a little perm and wear it.
I
I
mean,
might do a moonwalk. I might do something. You never
you
know.
know what I'm saying? We could do something.
I might dance. You know.
Great interview, though. I appreciate
Nah, I
it.
appreciate you, man. Appreciate
Thank
you for
you.
stopping by.
All right. Thank you.
One of the Masters podcast. We out.